So while we're on the topic of extremes, now,
all right. Texas boy.
I need to start. Okay, so nobody listens to me. Okay, because I know that many times on this program we have said, I know y'all like your self-driving automobiles. I know you like your Tesla autopilot. I know you people out there jamming your tangerines in the steering wheel and taking naps on the interstate while your car drives.
Man, yeah.
As a technology person, okay, as someone that has a base level understanding of what's going on inside the computer systems of those automobiles, I'm telling you, actually, I'm pleading with you, ladies and gentlemen, please stop trying to use any sort of self-driving feature on your automobiles. They are not capable of it. We are not ready for it. We are not there yet.
Right.
Part of the reason we're not there yet is because of the infrastructure of our roads. Like, so you're basically trying to teach a machine learning. You're trying to teach machines to recognize things in the physical realm that have a lot of variables in them. They don't always use the same paint on the side of the road. It's not always the same color. Not every taillight works the same. Not every taillight is the same color. Not every taillight is LEDs. Not every stop sign looks the same. Things get faded out. This is where you're introducing all these variables, and this is where we run into trouble. Okay?
Right.
But apparently Domino's is ain't having it. Because they're marching right on ahead with what do we got, Jay?
Well, I think it's an interesting idea. It's already proven to work in controlled environments, like college campuses and stuff like that, where they deliver things, meals and stuff. But my understanding is there is a self-driving robot that is going to be delivering some pizzas. So it's what I understand, Domino's Pizza, who, I don't know, are you a Domino's Pizza fan, by the way?
I am. Yeah, I mean, so a lot of it boils down to what's closer to wherever we are when we want one. But yeah, I'll do it. I used to, here you go. I used to work as a delivery driver for Domino's in college.
What?
Back when they had the 30-minute guarantee.
Wow, that was dangerous in itself. That was cutting edge because it put a lot of people's lives at risk.
Well, I got pulled over a couple times. I don't think I ever got a ticket. I had a Mustang, and I had the little blue and orange hat and the.
But did you not have like the Domino sign on the rooftop of the car?
No, they didn't. They had just started doing that, and it was kind of optional, and not everybody did it.
Do you think cops turn their head whenever they see a Domino's sign?
Well,
say,
I had
delivery.
kind of a side story here, but I had a situation where because how we got paid was basically like, and this is before GPS. Okay, you would learn the neighborhoods, and you could go look at the hot rack, which is where when they would make the orders, they would put them under basically a heat rack, and I would go, okay, this one and that one over there and this one right here. These are all in the same neighborhood, and I can hit them all. Like, I can go to this street, and then that street's the next street over, and then that street's the next street over. And I can hit all three of those within the 30-minute window if I go to, what's the oldest one here? Okay, so I'm going to that one first, all right? And it was smart. Like, you don't just grab one order and run out the door because you're not going to make as much money that way, okay?
Right.
So I got pulled over because I was racing that, and we used to call them clock watchers, and they would put it on like the customer's profile in the computer system. It would say clock watcher, meaning like he's called in before and gone, hey, you were at 32 minutes, and I, so I need my free pizza, and so I was trying to get there before the clock watcher's time ran out, and I got pulled over. And the guy, he said, what are you doing? And I'm going to have my uniform on and all that. And he let me off with a warning. And I went back and I told my boss, and he goes, what was his name? And I told him the officer's name. And he goes, yeah, I used to be a delivery driver for me. He's not going to write you a ticket.
So there you go. They understand. They get it. So here's where we're going with this, guys. Apparently, Domino's has teamed up or partnered up with NURO And I would have to say it's probably more NURO seeking out a company that works and fits their program. But what this is, it is a autonomous delivery system. Basically, NURO is it's a self-driving robot. And they've been testing in the Houston market now for about 2 years.
NURO was founded by 2 Google engineers.
Right.
Okay.
And they fall into that family tree, that big Google family tree.
Google has done many a test pilots with autonomous motorization.
They are heavy into it. But the company says select customers in Houston who make a prepaid delivery order from its store in the Woodland Heights neighborhood during certain dates and times can have their pizza brought to them by a NURO R2 robot. Now, if these guys are speeding, will the cop robots that we just podcasted about ticket them, pull them over?
Right. So you potentially have a robot arguing with a robot over,
right,
license and registration. Right.
Boy, that's gonna come to chips.
Well,
I'll tell you. But
and these are small. Like the vehicles themselves look small. So is it the kind of thing where it kind of pulls over when rides on the shoulder when a car comes up behind? It looks like they're already using these for grocery deliveries. CVS pharmacies using them. Here's the issue that I have with this. Okay, and very very rarely do I ever take like a hard stance on one side or the other. You and I both we're kind of just fans of we're sportscasters. We're observers. We don't have a favorite team, right? But man, I am just telling you, this is a recipe for trouble. This thing's going to run over a kid in a tricycle. It's going to run over somebody's dog. I mean, we had this huge just recently, and I don't know if you know about this, and this was horrible. Apparently somebody had a camera in their home, like a smart cam, and they got the whole thing on video, and I saw it. There's 2 small children playing in a playroom.
I saw it.
And they got the Peloton treadmill.
The Peloton, yes.
And the kid's ball goes underneath the Peloton.
Right.
And he reaches underneath, and the treadmill's turned on, and he dies. He dies.
It's just terrible, man.
And so
just absolutely terrible.
The whole automated, I don't know how many times we have to say this. Stop with the AI. It is not. We don't need it. We don't need this.
No, fine example. Texas is going crazy with this stuff, man. I mean, Texas has been on the map for a while with this sort of stuff. Just things happening in that state. Do they have a bullseye on them? I mean, what do we got? What else we got going on? Let's.
Okay, so
AI is the topic of discussion here. Keep that in your brain. Let's talk about this.
All right,
ready, go.
Also in Texas, we have another. Let's just state, AI self-driving, where 2 people in a Tesla. I believe this was a Model S, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
And
it was not a newer model. It was a 2019.
Okay, so the car crashed, burst into flames. Okay, this is also near Houston. Okay,
right.
This is the interesting part. It killed 2 men. Nobody in the driver's seat. Nobody driving the vehicle.
And it's weird, man. When you dug deeper into it, I don't even think that the autopilot was engaged. Even is what, according to the black box, if you will.
Preliminary reports suggest the car was traveling at a high rate of speed and failed to make a turn, then drove off the road into a tree. And I understand you're trying to impress your friends with your Tesla and whatever. What are you thinking, man? What are you thinking? What happens if something goes wrong?
Right. And what part of, these things we are so far away from these things working the right way, or not, I shouldn't say to its full potential. But there's a lot of learning that has to continue to go on. This is not, look, here's where AI works. It's proven to work. We know it works. You take this part and you put it here. There are no other variables involved when you grab this part and you put it here for the assembly line. But when you have AI out on the open road when there's
what
squirrels,
kind of paint? Yep, squirrels,
right. deer,
other vehicles. What kind of paint's
right.
on the lanes? What happens if the paint got rubbed off on that side of the lane? And then we find out, according to Musk, who tweeted a response, Elon Musk, that said, "Hey, this guy didn't even have the full self-driving. Like, he didn't buy the upgrade that would enable this car to officially be able to do this.
Right.
Nor, as you previously said, did they have autopilot turned on."
Right. It's weird. It's Musk. He claims the data logs recovered suggested that it wasn't engaged. So what were these people thinking? And here's the thing. Okay, so if it crashed like it crashed, I mean, were these people buckled in these seats?
Well, if it's at a high rate of speed and it crashed into a tree, like it hit something and burst into flames and it hit it hard, that's going to knock you somewhere. And
right, so that's why I'm thinking it's like, maybe there's more to this than we know right now. This could be true, but I just kind of find it hard to believe that you knowingly you've done this, decided not to take control of the vehicle and allow the car when it's not fully set up to do that, and for it not to be engaged. So there's a lot of this story that doesn't add up to me. And obviously, as the safety board gets involved, they'll start peeling the layers back to find out really what happened.
And the two other things that I tended to like. Here's some facts that I was drawn into. These were adults. These were older men, if I'm not mistaken. They were old enough to know better. I saw their ages in another article, and I don't remember, but I want to say it was like middle-aged or better, like old enough to know better. The other thing, and this is where Jay and I have speculated, and we're going to get to this here in a minute when we get to our Toyota segment. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, we do these in segments. If you want the whole thing, go to our website at partscounterguru.com, and there's a podcast links, or just I think it's just called podcast now, tab at the top. And you click on that, and it'll take you to wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. You can find all those podcast platforms and a link to our show on them, and you get the whole thing. You get the whole show.
Yep.
So we got a Toyota segment coming up, but this first generation, second generation EV situation where we're using lithium batteries that are highly volatile.
Right.
And this is where we think that some of these companies like Toyota, perhaps Bosch, perhaps some of the other ones are more interested in solid state because they are not, it's more stable, it's less volatile. This thing kept reigniting and firefighters could not put it out because of those batteries and the lithium gases that kept leaking. And they literally called, it says so right here, firefighters tried to contact Tesla to go, how do we put this thing out? They couldn't get it. They couldn't get it extinguished. Right.
Tesla previously provided some guidance for first responders when they encounter fires involving these types of crashes, because reignition of the battery can be a problem for sure. Because it's unlike gas-powered vehicles, man, where when you have a crash and it's a fuel sourced fire. Mm-hmm. You eliminate the source, the fire goes away. The problem with EV batteries like this, is that they can reignite 3-4 days after, because they're unstable at this point. Right, exactly.
Oh,
so,
and by the way, everybody this is controversial, I understand that, but all you people that say, well, my electric car is carbon neutral, that is highly toxic chemicals coming out of those batteries. Highly toxic.
Right. Highly, and that's why the move to solid state is so important. If we can get that battery technology or another alternative source of power like the hydrogen fuel cell, all that stuff's really. I mean, you got to be careful too. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get there, and we've talked about that in previous podcasts. God, my brain is like,
I mean,
it's weird.
I love cars. I love technology. It's cool to see the marriage of the two. People have got to stop doing stupid stuff or they're going to ruin it for everyone. Now, to be fair, I don't know the full, maybe there was a third person and they were ejected from the vehicle and that we're going to find that out later. it just looks like this is a situation where somebody was doing something they shouldn't have been doing.
I think so, and I think when it all irons out, when after the investigations are completed, it's going to be negligent on behalf. I bet behalf of the owners
So
of the vehicle.
Tesla's pulling data from their black box, and they're going to, I'm sure, work with the transportation safety board to figure all that out.
Right. It's crazy, man. So, I mean, Texas, dude. You guys have been in the news a lot.
Is Texas going to be the next Florida?
They already are. I think it's just bigger in size. That's all. Everything's bigger in Texas, man. That's what they say. So